On screen right now, you can see the model misaligned to the file origin point. Or how about warnings? Some of these are quite serious objections. I can't tell you how many times I've raised problems in Revit models and the response I hear is, "Oh, I didn't know." These are things that should never be missed. Now, imagine giving your model a score rating out of 100. If you could visually rate your work, would that shock you into producing better models? This video isn't just about running tools, it's about raising awareness. If you do these checks yourself on a regular basis, then you're winning. The very first thing I check is the Revit Info. This tool gives me the file's metadata, which version of Revit it's running on, which template it came from, and the document increment, which tells me how many times the file has been saved. If the increment is really low on a project that's been around for months, it usually means the model was restarted. That's important context to know before you dig into anything else. Next, I check the Show History tool. This gives me a log of who's been working on the model, when they synced and how often. It's a simple way to see if the workload is being shared or if only one or two people are carrying all of the responsibility. It's also an accountability tool. You can see patterns of activity that tell you how the model has been maintained. Now, I move on to coordination. I always check the internal origin and the project base point, and if required, the survey point. If these aren't aligned or agreed, your coordination with consultants will fail. This should always be confirmed in your BIM execution plan. Whether you're aligning by shared coordinates or a project base point, it needs to be consistent. Otherwise, linked models will never line up. Let's dive in to the pre-flight check. When I run the pre-flight check, one of the first things I look at is the report on in-place families. The report doesn't just give me a number, it also calls out the categories where they've been used. An in-place wall is a much bigger issue than an in-place piece of furniture. To dig deeper, I use the pyRevit Analyze Find In-Place Families tool. This creates a 3D view that highlights every in-place family and generates a list of all of them in the project. I can click through the list and instantly locate each in-place family in context. No hunting required. Here's a look at why in-place families are bad practice in Revit. And if I need to clean them up, I use pyChilizer's in-place to loadable tool. In the on-screen example, I've selected the North Point icon, which was created as an in-place element under the site category. After processing, pyChilizer has recreated this as a proper family, still in the site category, and placed it directly on top of the in-place element. All I need to do now is delete the original in place, and I've got a clean, reusable family in its place. The next thing I check is warnings. Most warnings in Revit are left unresolved because users don't understand what they mean. EF Tools lets me display warnings by user. On a collaborated project, that provides amazing accountability. You can see exactly which team member has created which issues. In addition, I can isolate warnings. I can select a warning type and EF Tools will generate an independent 3D view that isolates the offending element. I just copy the view name and paste it into the browser search. and I've got a clean view with red highlights showing me exactly where the problem is. Dynamo is another great option using Autodesk's free sample scripts. These create views too, but instead of color overrides, everything else is hidden, leaving only the offending elements visible. That makes them impossible to ignore. After clicking Run, Dynamo will use the default 3D view to isolate the offending elements. Then zoom in to get a better view. In Revit's Warnings dialog, there's a button called Show Related Warnings. Clicking Show Related Warnings will filter the dialog and show you only the warnings that are tied to that specific element, making it super easy to resolve. Once I've dealt with the warnings, I always check the integrity of the views and the documentation. First, I use the pyRevit Inspect tool to count how many detail lines are in a view. If a view has hundreds of lines, it usually means the model isn't being used properly and the drawings are being patched instead of built from real geometry. Next, I toggle the Reveal Hidden Elements using the light bulb on the View control bar. This shows me two things: hidden categories, which are normally managed by view templates, and hidden individual elements. When I see a lot of hidden elements, it usually means no view template has been applied. I can also use the Unhide Elements in View button to bring back everything at once. If the model suddenly fills up with doors, walls, fixtures, or tags, it's a clear sign the team has been hiding elements to make drawings look right. And that's the problem. When drawings don't match the real model, coordination falls apart. Finally, I check phasing. When I check phasing, I recommend creating phase-specific working views. The way I set this up is with a Check Phases view template. In that template, I include preset filters that highlight elements by phase. Importantly, I deselect the phase filter option in the template. That means the view template doesn't lock me out. I can still toggle different phase filters while staying in the same working view. On screen, you can see I've switched the view filter to show existing and demolished items. Then, if I toggle it again to demolish the new, notice how certain elements change color. That color coding tells me something isn't right. In this case, the element appears as temporary. If I select it, I can confirm it's incorrectly set up, meaning it's both created and demolished in the same phase. Families are another key area of the audit. I always look for families that have strange names, typically ending in suffixes like one or copy. That's a sure sign that someone has edited the family inside of the project. To find out who made those changes, run the Who Did That tool. This tool will tell you who was the last person to edit that element. It's a simple way to stop bad habits spreading and to reinforce accountability. Lastly, I want to highlight the Autodesk interoperability tools. With these, you can automate model checks using predefined or custom rule sets. Each rule defines what good practice or standards compliance looks like in your respective Revit model. When you run a check, the tool systematically evaluates the model's elements against the rules previously defined. The result is a rating or a percentage that tells you the status of your model health. This connects right back to what I said at the start. Imagine giving your model a score out of 100. Tools like this make that score real, and they give you a clear way to track improvement over time. After the model checker finishes, save the report to HTML. Then copy the report's URL and paste it on the project's homepage. To do that, I add a project parameter called model health or something like that. Ensure that it's the URL type. So now when anyone opens the model, they can click straight through to the live health report. Try it out yourself and let me know how it works for you in the comments. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next video.